The Maryland Collaborative Archaeological Survey is a partnership between BOEM and NOAA and Coastal Studies Institute to come together to assess potentially historic resources in an area under consideration for wind energy development off the coast of Maryland. So under the National Historic Preservation Act, federal agencies have a responsibility to ensure that any of their undertakings don't impact potentially significant cultural resources, in this case offshore shipwrecks that may be embedded in the seabed where they're considering development. The purpose of the project was to look at some previous developer-led surveys that identified some anomalies that may or may not be culturally significant. So the point of us coming together is to go back out, reassess those targets in higher resolution, and then put divers in the water to actually conduct a significance assessment to determine whether or not those materials are historic or potentially historic.
The first challenge that we have, as archaeologists doing work underwater is that you can't necessarily just see what's at the bottom of the seafloor. So we are at a disadvantage in some regards, but what we use is a lot of sonar equipment and what we call sort of remote sensing equipment, which give us a sense of what is basically below the water, sort of on the seafloor. So this thing here is what we call a sector scanning sonar, and it's a type of equipment that uses sound to basically give an image of the seafloor. Another type of equipment we use that's very similar to this is what's called a side scan sonar, and that's a piece of equipment that's actually towed behind the vessel while you're moving. And what it does is it sends sound out, that sound reflects back, and it basically gives you an image of what the seafloor looks like. This piece of equipment is really great and really useful for us in finding archaeological sites because you use it actually when the vessel's stationary, and because of that it gives a really stable image of what could be on the seafloor and allows you to take really detailed measurements. So this can help us sort of locate where that object is on the seafloor and can help us sort of plan when we're sending divers in on where we want them to go and what we want them to do.
So we do send divers down to make final confirmations, to get measurements that are very precise, to look for details that are not evident in the imagery. And the divers can take measurements, the divers can use photography and videography to collect final images, and all of those help piece together the puzzle that we're asking the question, what is this site, what is this shipwreck? All of that information is valid. This project is a unique collaboration. It's the third year of an ongoing partnership with NOAA's Monitor National Marine Sanctuary, with East Carolina University, with the Coastal Studies Institute, and with a number of other partners. And what we do is we come together and we bring all of our very unique and important skill sets. So we have archaeologists, we have experts in photography and videography, we have diving safety experts that are on the vessel, we have the use of the vessel from Monitor National Marine Sanctuary. So all of these things come together, we bring all of these assets to bear, and we really come up with a lot of valuable information in a very short period of time. I think a project like this is very important because there's a lot of interest in shipwrecks, there's a lot of interest in our underwater cultural heritage, and what this allows us to do is bring all of that information back to the public, to show the public that your federal dollars are actually working to protect your heritage. Underwater cultural heritage is kind of unique because it provides, every time you see one of these shipwrecks, a very good time capsule. It shows us the background of our country, how things developed, and especially here in Maryland where the history is so tied up in the maritime industry, it's extremely important for us to help share that information.